Hi, and welcome back to another Quiltler 3 tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to cover the design tools in the quilt canvas. So we're kind of just going to go over them one by one, and I'll try to cover everything. I might miss some stuff, but this will at least give you a good idea of what can be done here in using the design tools. We're going to start here. We have a blank canvas, and so we're actually going to start here by one of the simplest things to do, which is when you have existing quilt blocks or quilts, you can actually grab pieces of those and import them into a new design. So here I have a quilt block saved as a quilt, as a half square triangle. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I can come here and I can go ahead and select those and then hit push to paint. And now you can see that it has become my selection. And so if I come over here and I just tap that block there, you're going to see that I now have the block ready to go. I could come here and I could hit the select button. And what I could do is with this, I can select this and I can view the blocks that I have selected. And then I could maybe turn that one off, update the selection, and now it might look like I still have them all selected, but if we come back here, you can see that I just have that one, that gold one selected, and now I could come down here and I could actually change the color of that. So really awesome. There's a lot of other things you can do with select though, such as we'll go ahead and select the full thing again, and I'm going to hit duplicate. And so you can see that I actually just copied that block immediately over to the next one. And just so you can see, there's not really a line there or a pixel between that. We can tap that orange grid and get rid of the grids. We could also get rid of the ruler if we wanted to. And we could also change the way that the snap mode works. And this is something that you'll have to play around with. But for instance, if we turn the grid on and then we select none, you can see that we can actually just drag stuff wherever we want it. We'll go ahead and turn back on our snap mode, and now you'll see that it snaps appropriately. So you can really quickly iterate on a design with just that if you wanted to, because now that I've selected both of these, well, let's go ahead and even move this one down here and then select the whole thing and then hit duplicate. And then we could duplicate that and move that there. And now if we grab that, we can hit duplicate and drag the whole thing over. And so you can see that you can very quickly fill up a design. Now maybe I don't love the colors of all these, and so I could come here and I could select all these and I could hit view for blocks. And now you can see I can actually unselect those and update my selection. And now technically I could change the color of just those two gold half square triangles. But what I'd rather do is hit select search. And this will actually select every block in the grid. And now I can group them. So I'm going to group them by pattern name, and I'm going to select gold and select those 16 blocks. And now I'll come down here and I will go ahead and select that sunflower gold that I like a little bit more. And you can see that now I've updated all of those. There's a lot of other things that you can do while you are selected on it. Since these are cutout blocks, rotations affect so if we do 180 degrees on that cut, now you'll see that it's actually underneath the blue one. And so if I wanted to, I could come up here and do the select search again and select the blue ones. And now I've swapped my selection and I could bring these to 180, and now I've inverted the design. A lot of these things you'll probably just have to end up playing around with. But it's a lot of fun to kind of just play around and see what you can do with it. So we can go ahead and move along to paint now. The paint option has two modes, paint new and paint replace. And so paint new does exactly what you would think, is that when you select a color, which I have a color selected and I can see the preview, I can just tap any block and it will paint. I can actually tap on other blocks. So if I tap this bottom corner, you'll see that it actually painted on top of it. And the reason why it does it that way is because you can layer your designs. And so it'll become more clear when we paint with a cut. So to get your first kind of cut design, you can come here and select something from either the color palette or your imported fabric library. So these are photos that I've imported. And then you can come to your cuts, excuse me, and you can see that I've got all of these different cuts. So I'm going to go ahead and select half square triangle, and you can see it update in the preview. And so if I select this bottom left corner, you can see that it's now painted that half square triangle. And maybe I'll come over here and I'll use a fabric this time, and I'll just grab that fabric. And what I will do is I will rotate the cut 180 degrees. And so now I have the other side of my half square triangle, and now I can tap that same block and paint with it. So anyways, that is part of paint. And now paint replace, we can come in here, and when you paint, you are essentially painting a fabric or a color, and then a cut type, and then a rotation. And so if I was to paint replace this block right here with my existing configuration, it would replace the whole thing. But if I undo that and I get rid of the cut, then it will actually just paint with the fabric that I have selected. And so if I undo that and bring back the cut and don't use the rotation, it would normally do the rotation, but since that's a 0 rotation anyways, then it doesn't really make a difference. So let's undo that again. And we're actually going to preserve the cut, the rotation. And what we want to do is we want to try maybe a different blue with all of these. And so you could either do the select search, or if you were changing things and you didn't want to change every single one, then I could come over here and I could kind of just select the ones that I wanted to change. And I'm just tapping those blue triangles there. And so anyways, you can see how the paint replace mode works. So I'm going to kind of clean up my design here a little bit and select those and delete those. And then I'm going to scroll down here to my design info. And what I'm going to do is, you can see you've got a whole bunch of different options here. The show grid again, I'm going to turn the ruler back on. And you can see your block width and your block height, and your number of rows, number of columns. And I'm just going to drop my rows down and, oops, a little bit too much. And my columns down. And so that to me is my complete design. So I could add a description, and I could update my title. I could choose to show sashing. And there are some issues with creating designs and then adding in things later, but for the most part, it all works. Feel free to report issues or bugs, and then we can go ahead and select kind of the color that we want to go along with that. Sunflower gold is probably not the right option, but maybe a sage thread. I don't know. Use your creativity. I could also choose the cornerstones to be a different color. And then I could also add multiple layers of borders. And so this would be one layer, and I could choose to make this a color, and I could add another border if I wanted to, and maybe make that gold. And so now I'm starting to have a design that is really complicated, actually. But you can do a lot of good stuff and use your creativity. But I hope this has been helpful. I think I've covered just about everything. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. And thanks for watching.